Great. So remember
Awesome.
to have your microphones off at the moment, and then in the last part of the session, we're going to devote some minutes for you to ask questions. You can also leave them in the chat so that we can just keep track of them. Okay. All right, Katie, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see so many lovely faces. Thank you for taking time to learn more about U.S. campus life. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about, partly because I was super involved as a student and I loved doing absolutely everything across my university campus. And it was a big reason that I ended up doing my master's degree in higher education, focused on US higher education and helping students to achieve their goal of earning a bachelor's, master's, or PhD from the US, which is pretty cool. And so my name is Katie, and I oversee our recruitment in South America. And so if any of you decide someday you would like to apply to the University of Arizona, I would be the person to help you through that process. And I have a fantastic student with me. Jabber, why don't you introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you're majoring in?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jabber Alatas. I'm a national student from Saudi Arabia. Currently, I just finished my second year, and then I'm majoring in business.
Yeah, so I'll present a little bit about campus life, and then Jabber will add in his personal experience so you can hear the student side of things as well. So we will get started. Just to preface the presentation, I want to share a little bit about the University of Arizona and who we are. So a lot of the examples I have today are coming from a very large research institution, which is what the University of Arizona is. We are public, and so our goal is to serve our state, Arizona, and the people who live and work here. And so we have almost 50,000 students who study on campus. So it's kind of like its own city, if you can imagine that. We're highly ranked in public research, and there's a lot of money invested each year in research initiatives, over $700 million. We're considered a top national university, and we're in a very laid-back city of Tucson. And so maybe, Jabber, you can share what your favorite thing about Tucson is.
So my favorite thing about Tucson, it's a college town. You get the full experience of American college.
Awesome. And good food, right? We eat lots of good food in Tucson. It's
oh yeah, we have quite diverse food options. So there's always an option for you to eat.
That's probably my favorite thing. So that's Tucson. And we're here in the Southwest. So not too far from California, like San Diego and Los Angeles, but this is definitely a desert. So it is hot and dry in Arizona. Awesome. So I wanted you all to participate here for a quick second. When you think of US college life, what is the first thing that comes to mind? And I have a few graphics that are maybe stereotypes, but I wanted to know what you all think of when you hear US college life.
Greek life, probably.
Greek life, good one. Thank you, Naomi. Go ahead, Anna.
Football games.
Football games, exactly. Athletics. Lots of maybe crazy, excited fans. Matilde?
Oh, yes. I imagine the football thing, and I also imagine like the campus, but I have like a specific image that I don't know if I got it from a film, a movie, or something like that. Like the big building and the cheerleaders and everyone being like, "Oh my God, everything is so amazing and so cool," and everyone being like in the same vibe of, I don't know, like a cloud of, I don't know, like up there, you know, on their own, something like that.
In a cloud of like happiness and enthusiasm.
Yes, but like excessive enthusiasm. And it's like, I don't know what we are also happy, but let's be all happy, like whatever. I don't know.
I love that. Jabber, do you think that's true at all? Are people excessively happy on campus?
Pretty much, yeah.
Good one. Federico. Oh, no, I can't hear you.
Maybe you're in mute.
No, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And maybe all different clubs that you can take part in, like chess clubs or maybe dancing, debate
Yeah.
club, etc.
That's a good one, and we'll definitely talk about clubs because there are sometimes too many options, right? So lots of different choices. Martina?
Kind of the same, but like spirit in general. Like everyone loves their school even when they are like out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Deborah, what is our school mascot?
It's the bird down
Yeah,
cat.
Bear Down is our slogan, and then we're the Wildcats. But you hear Bear Down all the time on campus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty common. So I threw some up here: Greek life, the school spirit, that students are always in their pajamas. I hear that a lot. And Deborah, I don't know, maybe you can add, is that true? Or how often do you see pajamas on a daily basis?
Well, you don't see it that often, but you really, from time to time, you would see a couple of students wearing pajamas.
Yeah, so casual vibe. Maybe that students are can be a little lazy. And of course, for the United States, that we might not always eat the healthiest of foods. So I had to put the tacos and the hamburgers and the ice cream and the donuts. And I know that a lot of events on campus have free food, and they often are unhealthy food options. So anything you want to add here, Jabber?
Well, it can't go wrong with pizza.
Exactly. Lots of pizza.
Yeah, there's a lot of free pizza from time to time.
Cool. So a lot of that can be true, but it definitely doesn't have to be. Campus life can be so much more than just the school spirit, although that is a really important part in the US. But I would say one of the main things is that it's all about creating community. And so our campus, for example, is 50,000 students, and it is like its own city. It is the place that you socialize, that you eat, that you sleep, that you learn, that you spend all of your time. We have 23 campus dormitories on our campus, and so they're serving first-year students, graduate students. They have learning communities where people can live together who share similar interests, and so it is a very lively place. And so sometimes that can be a little overwhelming when you first come to the United States, but keeping in mind that all of this is here to support you and to create the community and the friendships that you will ultimately need to succeed, but also just have a really positive experience. Jabber, did you live on campus when you were a student?
Unfortunately, I didn't live on campus here at the U of A, but I did live right after I graduated high school at my community college previously.
Nice.
Yeah.
So had that living experience, a little bit different campus life, but still.
It was interesting. I would say I would recommend students to live at least one semester in a dorm to get the experience.
Yeah, so on-campus experience is a really important part of it, and starting that community engagement. So next, and I think it was Federico, you mentioned this, I think one of the most valuable experiences you'll have at a US institution is the clubs and activities that you can get involved in. And on our campus, like many other US institutions, you're going to find academic clubs where they're focused on helping you advance in your career or your academic interests, ultimately connecting with other students and faculty who are also pursuing that similar interest. And we have a lot of social clubs. These are ways to just hang out with people who have similar interests to you. One of my favorite social clubs on campus is the Ski and Snowboard Club. So even though we are in the desert and it is over 30 degrees Celsius outside, people still love to get together and talk about skiing. And I think that's just really cool. And it's a great way for them to share experiences. And we have a lot of cultural and ethnic clubs that help bring students together who share a similar cultural or ethnic background. So to give you an example, we have a Latin American Students Club. And they get together and maybe speak their native language, talk about different experiences that they have here at the University of Arizona, being a student of Latin American heritage. I was hoping Jabber could maybe share one of the clubs that he's involved in and what that all entails.
Yeah, I'm actually in charge of in two clubs, two academic clubs. and they're called the LR Transport Club, and the other one is called the LR Social Media Club, which for the business school.
Yeah, and so what type of things do you do in like the business social media club?
So we talk about marketing, how we can use marketing to improve our businesses, or how businesses improve their sales, increase their profit, and what social media apps are now popular to use and what not to use, and things like that.
Yeah, so in that example, he's very much focusing on spending his time with other people who have the same academic interests, who you're developing skills that you can utilize for maybe a future career. And so it's slightly less social, although you can still make friends, but definitely focused on things that will help you in your classroom. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. So the next area, and someone also mentioned this that I wanted to talk about, is Greek life. So I think Greek life is fairly specific to the United States and the US college experience. And it definitely has a reputation sometimes as being just fun and partying. But Greek life is actually a really great opportunity for leadership and community service. There are over 50 sorority and fraternity chapters on our campus. But some schools have more, some have less. And it's all about creating a special bond amongst other students who have maybe a similar community service focus. So there's a lot of like projects and experiences that they facilitate over the course of the year to make sure that you're developing skills needed for jobs. So Greek Life's focus is on academics, leadership, service, and friendship. And I know Jabber is not in a fraternity, but he almost joined one. So I thought he could share that experience also.
Yeah, so Greek life is really big here at the U of A. A lot of people are involved in it. I do highly recommend you at least try it out or check it out. And if you don't like it, you can always leave it. But yeah, it's a great community to be involved in. They help you out, and everybody is there for each one another. And you improve your skill, leadership, speaking skills, and you make genuine friendship.
Yeah, and sometimes it can feel a little intimidating to join like a Greek chapter. What was your experience when you got here, Jabber?
Well, you will when you decide to join, you have to go on to the fraternities and sorority, and you'll be talking a lot. You have to introduce yourself, and have to come out of your bubble and be social, which is good for you because it makes you more social. Yeah, it can be a bit annoying experience, but it's to get you out of your comfortable zone.
Yeah, they call that process rushing, where you basically go from home to home and introduce yourself and see if you're selected. And it's definitely a little intimidating, but you're right. It's a great chance to get out of your shell and try something new. And a lot of students even live with their Greek chapter in their house. Jabber, can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, so if you once you get accepted, if you get accepted to the sorority or fraternity, then you have the choice of you living at their houses. So you can pick if you want to have your own room or have a roommate, and you could live at the house for like a semester or a year or 2 years. It's really up to you. But some chapters require you to live at least 1 year after joining them.
Yeah, and it's really all about, again, creating that community. It's a family. When you're in Greek life, you've got a very close-knit family in the sorority or fraternity you're part of. And we also do have academic sorority and fraternities here that don't necessarily have a house, but still are students who share similar values and want to be part of an academic fraternity, for example. Well, also, if you have questions along the way, we're happy to answer them. So feel free to utilize the chat as we go, but we'll have time at the end too. So number 3, and is a big one in the United States also, and that is athletics. I attended a university that did not have a Division I athletic sports teams. And so we ended up cheering for kind of the D1 team in the state. And so It's no matter where you go, even if your specific campus doesn't have Division I sports, you might still find yourself getting really involved and getting excited about college athletics. So on our campus, there are 17 Division I sports teams, and we compete as part of what's called the Pac-12 conference. There are different conferences throughout the United States, and different universities are part of those. And athletics, you have to be a very, very talented athlete in order to be selected for a D1 sports team. But there are also opportunities to compete and to play even if you're not part of that team, such as with intramural sports or club teams. And of course, we encourage everyone to hone that school spirit. And I believe it was Mathilde who said, do that hoorah rah like a cheerleader. And join the student section and really get involved and get excited for your team and for your fellow classmates. So I was hoping Jabber could speak a little bit to the club and intramural sports that he has played as a student.
Yeah, so last year I joined the intramural sports. I joined the soccer league, 2 leagues, competitive and recreation. So the competitive was competitive and the recreation was just for fun. Anybody can play at any level. I played soccer, it's my favorite sport. And we play once or twice a week, depends on the schedule. And yeah, it was super fun. Everybody can join. There's many sports. There's soccer, basketball, tennis, volleyball, yeah, many other sports. And also we have clubs teams where it's more competitive, where you have to go and try out for the sport you want to play for. And then if you get picked, you will be joining a team. And usually they practice 3 to 5 times a week, and they play 2 to 3 games a week. Sometimes they play it away, where like you have to travel to another states, and some games are home. So yeah, it's a very fun environment to play sports and to make new friends that are sharing the same hobbies as you.
Yeah. So oftentimes students who are really competitive, but perhaps aren't at the D1 level, that club level is still a great place for you to compete across the US. Get to know other students who are interested in the same sport as you and have that competition if you're not quite up to the D1 sports level. Anything you can add about like the school spirit and like a student section for games?
Oh yeah, so we when we have home games specifically, we have a section called the Zuna Zoo Pass. Yeah. Where so the section is really close to the field, where it's only for the students member, where everybody wearing like Arizona and U of A t-shirts and merchandise, and everybody's chanting and cheering for our team, the U of A. It's a really cool experience and environment and spirit.
Yeah, and so a few of you mentioned at the beginning you think football. That is obviously a very American sport that we do love. Our football team isn't as good as our basketball team, so we're much more popular for men's and women's basketball. And then you'll see the stadium completely full on game day, but there's a specific section just for students to get excited. And you'll find that at a lot of different universities, especially if they're a Division I athletic school like us. Cool. Next one is a little bit more academic focused, and this is a way for you to get involved in campus life and research. I also am going to tie in like internships to this because it is the application of the coursework that you learn to something, to actually doing something, right? So in class, you may be learning about biology or engineering, and then you can apply to work with a faculty member who may be doing a research project in that same area. So you can apply the skills from your classroom into work experience that will again help to build your resume and hopefully get you a job. Research is something that I just gave examples of STEM majors, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but it happens across all areas of study. Our education department will do research on teaching methods in different countries. Our humanities will do research on like the border studies. The University of Arizona is very close to the Mexico border. And so understanding the geopolitical relationship there and how it impacts our culture and our city is also really important. So research happens across all areas of study, whether you're interested in science, humanities, architecture, or business. And it's something that you can get involved in right away as a student in your very first semester. There's a lot of misunderstanding that if you want to do an internship or if you want to do research, you must be a junior or a senior ready to graduate. And that's simply not true. You can look for work experiences much earlier in order to gain, again, the skills that you'll need for a job. And so Jabber, I know that you're doing an internship, I believe, this summer. Perhaps you can speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm doing an internship. Actually, it starts next month in June. I'm doing it through my the College of Business, which is called Eller Management. I'll be working with a department called Tech Core, which is part of the Eller College. I'll be doing project with a data analyst, the main focus. I look forward to it, and I do highly recommend students to do an internship as soon as they can. Probably like the summer of freshman year or sophomore year.
Yeah, you want to get in as early as possible, especially something like research or an internship. It starts to build the connections with either faculty or business owners. And even that first summer can lead to another internship the next summer, can maybe lead to a job when you graduate. And so making those connections really early on in your field of study is really important and something that all US institutions are really heavily focused on supporting you through. The next one goes beyond just research and internships, and that's just campus work experiences. So on our campus, we have just over 10,000 on-campus jobs for University of Arizona students. They range anywhere from helping with administrative duties in an office to maybe managing a social media account for a department. And we have a career development office, which is very common at US universities that support you with your resume, your cover letter, your interview prep, making sure that you feel fully prepared to apply for a job and you have the documents that a US employer is looking for when you apply for that position. We also have something across campus that we call job fairs. And this is where we bring in businesses from around Arizona and the United States to hire you. And so many of our different departments will have a job fair where you can walk around holding your resume and introduce yourself to different employers looking for a work position. And so Jabber isn't employed in our office, so I'll let him speak a little bit about what that experience is like.
Yeah, so I started working this semester in February. It's a great job. I get to meet new people and cool workers. And actually, that's how I met Katie. We're working together in the same office. It does give you a work experience that helps you later on when you look for a job. And it's a great way to start finding a place to work when you're at university before you get to the real world to get some experience beforehand.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times it may seem like, how do I get a job? Is it really hard? Do you feel like applying for a position was difficult?
Well, at the beginning, it feels difficult because it was my first time applying for a job. So it feels a bit daunting experience. But once you go through the process, it gets easier, and then you get hired at some point.
That's great. So there's definitely a lot of different resources on campuses to help you find a job, whether that's a career development office or on our campus, we have a tool called Handshake. And that is a space where all campus jobs are posted. So you go to one place to see all of them. And again, that's pretty common across large US institutions. And so working on campus is something that international students are encouraged to do to gain those skills needed for employment. And you have many different options depending on which department or which skills you're looking to develop. Cool. We've kind of gone through some of the fun things, a little bit of the work experience. And so now I wanted to talk about campus life with regards to academic support. So when you're coming to a US institution, it may be far from home. You may be thinking, oh, well, I have support in all aspects of my life. And so you have ways to meet friends through clubs, you have ways to earn money through work, and you have a lot of support academically to make sure that you succeed, you get to graduation, and you ultimately get a job. And so one of the ways that we do that is every single student gets assigned an academic advisor, and they are there to help you explore your major, help you pick your classes. Ultimately, they help you make a 4-year plan so that when you get to choosing your classes, you know that you will graduate on time if you take these classes in this order, or if you want to trade them out, okay, this is what it would mean for your graduation timeline. We want students to not get behind or take 5 years to graduate. So it's really important that your advisor is there to help you kind of every step of the way. There's also a lot of support in terms of the services available on campus, like things that you might need in your class, such as books, online articles for research, or perhaps equipment. And so our library has access to all of those different things. We actually have 5 libraries on campus, but the main library is where most students go for their books and for their study spaces. And then we also have support offices such as tutoring, writing centers, and many classes have what are called teaching assistants who help provide guidance and support throughout the class. So if you're taking a course and you're having a difficult time, you can work with the teaching assistant, you can go get tutoring support, or perhaps you can submit your essay to a writing center. They'll review it for you, give you some feedback before you turn it in for your assignment. So lots of different academic support available for you. So I'll ask Jabber, what support services have you used on campus that you found most helpful?
Think Tank is the Student Success Center where they help you with many subjects. I was there a lot for math. I needed help a lot with math last semester. But yeah, I spent a lot of hours there, but it does get the job done. So I do highly recommend it if you're struggling with your studies.
Yeah, Think Tank is what we call our tutoring center, but other campuses would have different names for them. But you can just drop in, get help in the subject that you're looking for. And I believe you can do one-on-one support as well at maybe like a fee, depending on how often you need the service. Is that right?
That's correct. You can have a one-on-one private session with any of the topics you need help with.
Yeah, and have you ever used any of the rental equipment in the library, for example?
Oh yeah, I have. I actually rented a couple of times with calculators and charger for my Mac. So, because I need to charge my Mac to do the homework and whatnot. Yeah, they have pen and pencil, papers, and all the stuff you need.
Yeah, so you don't have to run home. They've got everything there for you, even chargers to charge your computer, and lots of study spaces. Where on campus do you spend your most time studying, Jabber?
The library, we have quite private rooms that you can book it in advance through the library website. You can have like one private room or have a group room, so you can go with your friends and have a study group with your fellow friends, your classmates.
Yeah. So when it comes to that support, it's more than just having those services, but also having lots and lots of quiet spaces for you to study, for you to get your work done, or be able to work with your classmates. So that's a really big part of US education, is having all of that available to you. And your advisor, these rentals, even dropping in for tutoring, these are all services that come with your tuition. So you're not paying extra unless you need something like one-on-one or special. It all is just incorporated into your tuition costs. Cool. So those are the services I wanted to mention. I did want to give a really brief overview of our school, the University of Arizona. So we've talked primarily about campus services for physically coming to the United States and what happens when you're here on campus and you're walking from building to building and you have those services. I know with COVID and just the last few years, it has become much more common to enroll online. So I do want to mention that a lot of these services are still available online. You can still get tutoring. You'll still be assigned an academic advisor. You still have a lot of that academic support. And so depending on what you're looking for, you may be able to start a degree online and then come to campus later, or of course have that entire experience here in the United States. But know that US institutions are here to be flexible for you and make whatever you need work. And so we, for example, have many different options for enrolling on campus or online. In terms of applying, keep in mind that applying to a U.S. institution is going to differ from school to school. For us, there's a very easy application process. We don't require an SAT or an ACT. We're looking for your academic transcripts, your proof of English proficiency, and an online application form. So if you're interested in learning more about this, I'd be happy to answer questions, but just wanted to throw out everywhere.arizona.edu is the main webpage for where you can apply to the University of Arizona. And we don't utilize SAT because we look at your transcripts and we look at 3 full years of transcripts to determine your grades and make sure that you're meeting our GPA or grade point average minimums for admission. And now I wanted to open it up for questions. So maybe what experiences were you looking for that we didn't talk about? Or do you have any questions for Jabber about his experience on our campus? Yeah, Martina.
Maybe about like when you first arrived there, if you don't know anyone, like how did you adapt? And if it was easy, like getting to know people, if people were like open-minded or open to being friends. Yes, how was that process?
Yeah, so actually before I moved to the U of A, one of my friends from high school, he was enrolled at the U of A. So connected with him, and I met a couple of his friends. So this was my case. But I would definitely go up to people and say, hey, I'm new here, and strike a conversation right away. Because you're not the only person that is new. There's many students that are new as well. So you're not the only one in that boat. So just go talk to people, and if not open-minded, if they're closed-minded, if they don't want to be your friend, you move to the next one. There's like many students on campus you can be friends with, and you just like that, go to people, say, hey, I'm Hi, my name is this, and yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of different activities to help with that. So like there's a new student orientation the first week where there are different events happening across campus that you can pick and choose from. And keeping in mind that people going to those, they're also new, they're also here for the first time. And so it tends to be really a lot easier to break the ice because you're in the same situation. You'll also find your first roommate or your first friend is often your new roommate, right? So when you move into your residence hall and you meet that person for the first time, you often have this, okay, I've got this person who's in the same situation as me, and we can go out together and explore campus. But you will soon find that there are so many different choices of what to go to that you have to narrow it down and pick and choose. And then you're finding people who share very similar interests and experiences to you. I would say Tucson generally is quite welcoming. Also, Jabber, maybe you can speak to this, but it's a very diverse city. There are people from all over here.
Yeah, that's correct. Pretty much like there's people from all over the world here. Like most of the people I encounter with are open-minded. They like do want to get to know and want to be friends. Just be outgoing, get out of your comfort zone, and just go talk to people. And even when you go for a lunch on campus, grab lunch and see somebody on a table and join them. Okay, could I join you? I'm new here. That's a nice way to break the ice, and you will start talking to them.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Martina. I saw a question come through in the chat. Let me read that one. Santiago asked, could we talk about financial aid options for international students at the University of Arizona? So that's a great question. So every student who applies for the University of Arizona as an undergraduate student, you are automatically considered for merit-based scholarships. So there's no additional application process, nothing extra you have to do. We are going to review your transcripts, recalculate your GPA out of our 4.0 scale, and automatically award you a scholarship with your admission letter. And so those currently range from $5,000 US up to $22,000 US. And so again, no application process, you just get it automatically. After you're admitted, then you are able to apply for scholarships across campus through a database we have called Scholarship Universe. So those are like departmental awards or local donors who have awards for students. And so those will be able to add up to maybe other things. So for example, say you are applying to be in the honors college where you do extra work so you can graduate with honors. You can apply for their scholarship once you're admitted into the honors college. And so you have a few different options. Unfortunately, federal financial aid is not open to international students because it is through the US government. You can consider it like an educational loan through a private company, and we have some suggestions on our website, but often we do recommend you consider loans, if you're going to consider a loan, to consider it from your home country, as the interest rates might be better. But our scholarship of $22,000 covers about 60% of tuition, so it's a good amount of money. Good question, Santiago. Any other questions for Jabber or myself?
Don't be shy, guys. Remember, this is the opportunity. You get to talk to these lovely people right now.
Hi, I'm Laura. I can find the emoji to raise my hand. I'm so sorry. Hey, Katie. Hi, Jabber. And hi, Emilce. I just wanted to ask, how was the college dorm experience for you? How did you just face living with a person you just haven't met before? And how are the college dorms? Are they bunk beds, or I don't know, what is the layout there? I don't know.
Yeah, so I lived in the dorm at my previous college, not the U of A. When I compared my experience with other people, it was totally different. I found that it's more fun here at the U of A than at my previous college. So what I know here at the U of A, you can get a roommate assigned to you, or you can have one of your best friends want to be roommate with you. You can definitely make that happen. Some of them share rooms, and yeah, it's like one room with two beds on the sides, like one on the left, one on the right, and you share bathrooms with her, or with the hall, I think. And there's a kitchen for the floor, whole floor, where everybody uses that kitchen. Yeah, as far as I know, that's all I know about dorms. But yeah, there's a website at school called Housing U of A. If you could check it out, that tells you all information about the dorms that we have at the U of A.
Yeah, there's a lot of them here on campus, Maura. So our residence halls, there's 23 of them. And so some have like a community bathroom, some have a private bathroom, some are apartment style, some are a tiny room where you have bunk beds. So when you apply for admission and then you begin your housing process, you can kind of determine what you're most interested in. I find a lot of students want kind of that traditional experience of a small room where they share a space with someone, and then they have that community bathroom down the hall, and it feels very communal and family. But if that's not your thing, if you want a little more privacy, you do have choices on campus for that as well, to do like an apartment style. I remember my experience, it was many years ago, but meeting my random roommate going to college for the first time, and us kind of like trying to figure out what we had in common. She was like very, very athletic. And so to like, become friends, we would go and like play catch and like play sports together, even though like I'm more of a runner, not really like a baseball player. And so you find your spaces that you have in common, but then we also just kind of had an understanding of I'm gonna make some other friends too, who maybe share things that have more in common with me. The U of A does a much better job of helping you find a roommate that is similar to you. So they have a whole like selection process where if you want to participate, you can share like, I like to stay up late and I hate when people are loud and I'm really, really clean. And then they'll match you with people who share those similar things. So you don't have to go total random like they used to do. It's a little bit more strategic these days. But sometimes a totally random person can be really fun, and you can learn a lot about yourself and others through that too. It's a great question.
That absolutely answers my question. Thank you so much for the answers. They were great.
Good.
You're welcome.
I think I saw another question.
I think we have a question on the chat.
I think so. It said, do you offer a degree on film studies? So we do. The University of Arizona has a College of Fine Arts. And our College of Fine Arts has 3 different programs that might be a good fit. So they have film and television. And then they have a studio art, which is about videography and imaging. The College of Fine Arts is a little bit more competitive. So when you apply for admission, you have to gain admission generally into fine arts, and then you have to apply for your specific program of choice. And that's pretty common. We have like an acting program, a music program, and those all just require that extra step, typically a portfolio showing us what you've done already, what you're interested in, so that you can get admitted into the film program. But it's just an extra supplemental application. And yeah, it's a great option. Cool. All good questions so far. Anyone, anything that you're nervous about with regards to campus life? You know, sometimes students mention like speaking English, and Jabber is like, just go up and say hi and practice. So that's one way to approach it. We have a very strong Spanish speaking community here, being so close to the border with Mexico. So if you want to speak Spanish, probably every other person you run into speaks Spanish, just maybe not unless you ask them to. Yeah, Rocio.
Well, hi everybody. I wanted to ask, do you have any advice for international students who are just like us in the process of applying to college in the US?
Jabber, do you have any advice?
Yeah, so income freshman students, I would say for the first semester, try to live on campus, so in a dorm for first semester. If you don't want to, that's totally okay. Trying to be involved as much as you can within the first year specifically. Get involved, check out Greek life, check out clubs. You can join many clubs. I'm involved in 2 clubs, as I said that earlier. Join as much as you can, get involved in campus, and be outgoing, trying to come up out of your shelf. I know it's gonna be hard sometimes to come out of your shelf and talk to people, but it's good for you. It's gonna be beneficial for you later down the road. And you're not the only one, remember that. What else?
Jabber, I know when you applied for university, you said Arizona was not your only school you applied to. So how did you ultimately choose where to apply and which school to attend?
So I wanted to major in business, and one of the best schools was U of A, and there was Arizona State University too I applied to. But I chose the U of A because it's a college town, unlike ASU. It's more in the city. So I wanted to get that full American experience of a college town, which the U of A does provide that.
Yeah, I think that's a good example to see, is kind of getting to know yourself of what experience are you looking for? Do you want a smaller city? Do you want a big experience? How do you feel about traffic? Cost of living, I think, is a big one. Tucson is definitely a more affordable city in the US, and most of you probably haven't heard of it before. And so if you're applying to a university in a place that you haven't heard of, there's a chance that it might be a little cheaper than New York and LA. And so looking into the cost of living and what that environment is like. And then I think Jabber made a really good point. And what do you want to study? Is the school you're applying to known for that? Because, you know, we're really highly ranked in many fields, but perhaps you're interested in one that we don't have as strong of a department in, or maybe we don't have a department at all. And so you really want to choose a university that focuses on the area that you're excited about, knowing that, you know, you might change your mind, but still being able to explore your interests fully. I think that's really important.
That was really helpful. Thank you.
Good. Jeffrey, there was a question about homesickness in the chat also. I don't know if you can speak to that at all.
Oh, homesickness. Okay. Okay. So I've been living here in the States since I was 13, so I forgot that feeling, the homesickness. But yeah, it does hit you from time to time, I guess, or especially in the first time when you move to the States. But I think the way to go over it is not to be alone by yourself. Like, don't stay in your room all day just going to classes and come back to your room. You have to do something else, like go work out, spend your day outside, talk to people, make new friends, go try out new activities, even something you never tried before. And just do something that makes you forget that you're in, like, the feeling of being homesick.
Yeah.
And that will help you.
I talked to another student the other day and I asked the same question and they said, I'm too busy to be homesick. And so I think Jabber makes a good point. If you get involved in clubs and if you get a job, you might find yourself kind of, you're just too occupied with college life to maybe miss home that much.
Also, Katie mentioned that we do have a lot of Spanish speaker, so you can still speak Spanish on campus pretty much whenever you go in Tucson.
Yeah, there's a few Argentinian restaurants also, so you can find some really good food if you're looking for something back home. But I think the time difference from the US to South America is also a huge benefit. You're not that far off. So calling home, FaceTiming, Zooming with your family is very possible coming to the US. Good question, Felipe. Thank you. Santiago asked a question, is there professional support available for students at the university? And what do they do when they're feeling overwhelmed? That's a great question. And we do have a counseling center, counseling and support services there for students. So you can talk to someone for free if you need to. Jabber, maybe you can add on a little bit.
Yeah, we have one specifically for international students where you can drop in via Zoom anytime, often during their office hours, of course. Or you can schedule and meet with somebody in person and talk over what is going on with you if you're not feeling well or overwhelmed. Yeah, so definitely there's resources on campus that help you with that.
Yeah, there's also a learning center on campus that helps people who have different learning abilities. And so that's called our SALT Center. And so if you need extra time on tests, or you perhaps have been, I don't know, told you have ADHD, or you just need support in that way, and we have an entirely different unit that can offer you support and make sure that your faculty members are understanding of what you need to succeed in your classes. Catalina, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what is the size of the classes? Like the classes you take, and not, for example, how much freshman students are there?
Good question, Jabber. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, so it varies, depends on the class you're taking. It can go from 20 to 100 students to 200. So it really depends on the class you're taking. Usually it gets bigger when you're focused on your major classes. So for accounting, I'm a business major. In my accounting class, we had 200 students in class. But I took a Gen Ed class, which was about Spanish, about Latin America. And we had like 50 students in that class. So it really depends on what class you're taking.
Yeah, and as you go higher in your degree, they tend to get smaller because you're focusing more and more on your area of study. So your first year, you might have bigger courses. And then as you get into your focus area, they'll get smaller. And of course, if you're in a smaller major, like business is very popular, that's why the accounting class is so big. But if you study something like, I don't know, Italian language, there are less students who study that. And so the classes tend to be smaller.
Okay, and well, a question to Jabber. Is it difficult to learn on big classes?
Could you say that one more time? It's difficult to learn.
Yeah, is it difficult to learn in that classes, like 200 students and so on?
It's definitely a different experience than like a 20 people in class, but I would recommend that to be closer to the board or to the professor. So you sit in like in a couple front rows, and try not to get distracted. Like, don't check your phone or turn off before class starts, and turn it on after class. But yeah, it can get distracted from time to time, but try to be closer to the board as you don't get distracted as much as if you were sitting way in the back.
Yeah, and don't
Okay,
skip
thank
just
you.
because it's a big class, because the professor might not see you're not there, but it's still important that you always attend, even if it's a big group.
Thank you.
Yeah, of
No
course.
problem.
Herman?
Yeah, I was looking for the application deadlines in the university webpage, and it says November 1st. My question is, do we have to have finished high school to apply to a university?
No, that's a wonderful question. And you definitely should be applying in your last year of high school. So is everyone here in their final year of school? Graduating in like December? Yeah, so you can absolutely apply right now. We're looking for your last 3 years of schooling. So typically grades 9, 10, and 11 are what are submitted for admission purposes. Now, if you do graduate in December and choose to apply for the fall 2023 term in August, you could apply with your grade 12 transcripts, and you can wait until then. Keep in mind that the time of application is the time that you get your scholarship. So if you're doing really, really well in grade 12 and you want to wait until you finish that to apply, that would kind of bump out your grade 9 grades. But if you did really, really well in grade 9, then you might want to apply right away when you have stronger grades. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Definitely. I did see a question in the chat, Antonella. What happens when you need medical attention because of an illness? Does the school help you with that? Jabber, have you ever gotten sick?
I sure did. So yeah, we do have a campus health. It's on campus. If you're feeling not well, fever, feeling sick, you can give them a call, and they can hook you up with a medical professional, where they see what's going on with you. But last semester, because of COVID, there was no walk-in, so we had to do it all virtually. But I think now they're getting back in person, so you could go there and walk in, and you will see a medical professional, will check your temperature and see what's going on with you, and they can assign you medication if needed.
Yeah. So we have that on campus. All international students in the US also have to have US health insurance, and most universities will just enroll you automatically in a policy, and that is how we do it at the University of Arizona. Your healthcare policy on our campus is very, very good. So if campus health is not like has a long line, or maybe you're on the other side of campus and you don't want to walk all the way over there, you can also go to like what we call urgent care or clinics. And there are several of those around campus too. And you just show them your card that says, I have health insurance as an international student, and they can assist you and make sure that you get the medication or anything that you need. Campus health does more than just treat you for walk-ins too. If you need vaccinations, if there becomes an annual COVID vaccine that we have to do, you can do all of that on campus. It's completely free for students, your flu shot, things like that. And so you can get all of those services right on campus. Awesome. Martina, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I have another question.
Yeah.
I saw that in many universities, there's like, they have like experiential learning or service learning, and I'm interested in that. They have, for example, a program like cooperation that is like you work 50% and you study 50% of your like career. So I was wondering if you had like programs like that, or yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely have different service learning opportunities. We don't have like a work and study program like what you're describing, where you do half time, half time. Most students who come to the university, they do have to be full-time to maintain their student visa status, and they apply for an F1. So that's at least 12 units. And so anything above that you could do on campus, or you could even apply for what we call CPT, which is like community-based service or internship. And so there are definitely ways to do it off campus, but we don't have like a 50-50 program that you're describing. Jabber, have you done any service learning or volunteer work off campus?
No, I have not.
That's okay. I know of some clubs, like in Global, for example, we have a very active service learning group that works with the refugee population here in Tucson. So we get a lot of refugees from around the world, depending on different wars and conflicts happening. And so that's a great program for students to get involved in the community that way. And different courses might have a service learning component as well. And so those would just be like classes that you select based on those additional, what we call engagement opportunities.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. You can also study abroad. That's a little bit different, but many University of Arizona students study abroad in the summer. And so you could join like a service learning program, say in, I don't know, Nepal as being an Arizona Wildcat, and then go abroad again for something like that.
Okay.
Right. I think we can close with Naomi's question. So this will be the last question for today. Let's see, Naomi.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm so... Okay, how was it? Okay, never mind. Sorry for the last minute question. I heard you say didn't give need-based financial aid for international students, but I wanted to know, I know it's merit-based, but I wanted to ask, what's the highest percentage of financial aid you usually give or you've ever given to an international student?
Yeah, that's a good question. So out of tuition, our highest award right now covers 60% of tuition. But that is just the single merit-based award. So you can apply for additional funds to go on top of that. But at one time, what we award is 60%.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been really great. I've loved your questions. Appreciate you giving us some time to share more about the University of Arizona. Nilta, you can take it away. I'll put my name and contact information in the chat in case anyone has other questions.
Fantastic. So I speak on behalf of everyone here. Thank you, both of you, for being here today. I think that you tapped into very, very interesting topics. Of course, together with College Club, we're going to expand on those so that they get to know a little bit more and be prepared, right, for the admission process. So thank you. Have a very nice afternoon. And well, you have their contact there in the chat if you want to go ahead and write. That's lovely. It's always great to have someone we can ask and direct our queries to. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. See you guys. Any questions, just email away. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Happy
Thank
studying.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
See you
everyone.
next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.